All right. Well, welcome to session 2 of animation scripting, week 1. And tonight we're going to be going over any questions on the discussion and assignment, and then we're going to look at the assessment too. So, Sarah, tell me this. I haven't yet looked to see if you've made your post yet. Do you have any questions on the discussion?
I have not done my post yet. I plan on working on that tonight. If not tonight, then tomorrow for sure. I'm about a day behind. But I don't really have any questions yet as far as the discussion goes.
Okay. Right.
The only question I did have is I think with the, let me check real quick, see if the anime updated. Nope, it didn't. I uploaded my Adobe last night, and I don't have any of it now. Well, hang on there. I still have Animate Edge.
Hey, why don't you share your screen and let's see what we can do. I want to see how that's working. The other students might be having a problem too, so I'll stop sharing. If you could share your screen, let's look and see what's going on.
Okay. Down here in my applications, I still have Edge 2014. And I did an update last night, and it would be just a trial version, I guess, but I still have Edge, it looks like. Everything else updated to 2015 or 2016.
I'm wondering if you're tied to, if you're using the license that the school has.
I am.
So can you click on the update and let me see what options they give you?
All right, let me figure out where there it is.
Sure. So I'm like, did it say you're in 2014?
I have 2014 and 2015 stuff when I updated. So those are the only two updates that I have actually in here.
Okay. Now, what I'm interested in is the Creative Cloud link. Normally, it shows it across the top. Yeah, let's go ahead and see if.
See if that'll open. Yeah, I've got 2014 for Dreamweaver, Edge, InDesign, and then I have InDesign for 2015 and Illustrator for 2015. Okay,
so I have across the top of my Mac a little icon that shows the Creative Cloud. Do you happen to have that? Got that.
Looks like this.
Yeah, mine's across the top, so yeah, it's a running program. And when you click on it, there's a gear in the upper right that says check for app updates. What's that right there? If you right click that, does it let you run it?
I mean, I can add it to doc, I guess. Let's see if that'll do it. That just puts it down here. Those are just files. Says there's nothing in there. The only time I get that up is if I actually update something.
Let's see. I wonder why. See, I'm looking at my screen here to see.
Right, I've seen that little thing. It's up here next to your little.
Right.
Yeah, mine only pops up there when I'm actually updating something, but mine doesn't usually stay up there. But it looks like this little one here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me see.
So I don't know where to get it at either.
Let me see if we can figure this out. wonder if maybe we should get that information for the installer from the school.
Because, I mean, I looked last night to try to update it and all that jazz, like actually the Adobe website, and I know it says that Edge isn't anymore. And I actually went into where when they gave us the Adobe CC update in my emails, and I've already done that, so I don't know if maybe it just never changed over, or if maybe I missed it since it was earlier this year that it changed over to just Animate.
Yeah, this is called the Creative Cloud Desktop application. That's what I want to run.
Let's see. Where did I find that at? Let's see if we can look in here.
Just
It's not in there for an actual.
I'm wondering if you yet have what we need to have on your. Do you happen to have the information from the school for downloading the Creative? Where is that?
Wrong inbox. Sorry, multiple emails. I apologize. Nope, not that one. Ah. See if I can find it. Hang on, give me just a second. Jason had sent it to me 12/30/2015, and I had issues with it, and then I went in to get into the account. That's the video.
Yeah, if you want to watch that video, I'm interested to see what it tells us to do.
Okay. That was just a walkthrough on how to download it.
Yeah,
How to install it.
that's
is to walk through the process of upgrading to the Adobe CC programs through the new system that we have. First of all, before starting the upgrade process, you're going to want to uninstall any of the Adobe programs that you already have on there.
Can you skip ahead a little bit?
Yeah.
You do that by going to Add or
I want to see where the website
Once you come here,
goes to.
click on Students.
See, and I went to that last night.
Log in first. Once you come here, go ahead and just click on Forgot Username or Password,
Somethinghub.com.
and then type in
Yeah, can you read that again?
I sent.
Yeah, it is CEHE dot, what is it called? On the hub.com, I believe. Let me see if I have it in another email.
Yeah, if you search for onthehub.com, I think that might find the email that comes from them. Okay, that's it right there.
Yeah. Which there's an Adobe Creative Cloud in there, and I thought I had already updated it because it had given me a few things that wasn't there before. Because then you go into Students, okay, and you click on that one, and it's free, so you add it to cart. It says I've already ordered it. So
Go ahead and click there where it says click here to view your previous orders. No, I think it was the other.
See,
That one, yeah.
that's the desktop redemption code.
Okay, and orders and downloads. Okay.
So if you view the details, what does it say?
Okay. So now let's go look in your downloads folder. There's a chance that there's a
I doubt it's in there. I've got to wait. I don't have it. I can guarantee I haven't redeemed it now, but I can guarantee it's not in there.
so the DMG
Yeah.
the installer program that it downloads.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to locate that because I want to rerun it.
All right, let me see if I can redeem it here and go from there. Like I said, I thought I had taken care of this. I think I already have one. Not there. All right, we'll do it this way. All right, don't look at my phone number. Just kidding.
Yeah. So
Just kidding.
that's just so now go look at your text phone and then enter in the 6-digit code that it sends to you, and that way they'll confirm that you're
Right.
hooked up.
But that's what. Hang on.
Where'd that number come from? Oh, no. That's not the text code that they sent you. This is now the redemption code from the school.
Oh, let's see if I've got one. Into my email.
Possibly in your email that it was sent to you, because he had an email sent out to every.
Oh God, that was back in the way.
An email came from him, but actually he caused an email to be sent to you, and it wasn't directly from him.
It was from, who was it from? He said who was it from. Give me just a second. Let me see. Who he said.
Did it come from
There it is. Center.
Did it come from On the Hub?
No. Because there's my order receipt.
Okay, let's see. Let's see. Copy of redemption code listed below. There it is in red. Wait.
But there's nothing in red.
This will only appear on the web store. Copy of redemption code listed below in red.
See if it's down here anywhere. Nope.
Who's that email from?
This is from the Center for Excellence in Higher Education.
Okay.
College America. There's the redemption code right there. Bink. Got it. So does that go in here then? Hang on. Yeah. There we go. Get out of that.
Are you pasting? Is that what's going on?
No, I just highlighted it. Because you can't paste it. You have to paste it one section at a time. See if it'll do it. Oh, it will. Perfect. By the way, this is my redemption code, everybody. So this may be something somebody else has to do too, maybe?
Oh, yeah, definitely. If they encounter a similar situation.
At least now they know how to do it. Now they said I have to take off the old one, right?
They did, but let's not worry about that right now. Okay, that code that just displayed there.
Yeah, that one.
No, the other one.
Oh,
It's okay. Click back just for a second on this thing. That one right there. Is that the same one, 9R52? Is that the same one that you redeemed?
yeah, it's this one here.
Okay. All right, let's move on.
So you get started. All right, so
why don't you click on the Open the Creative Cloud apps app.
let's do this again. Let's see.
It looks like it's thinking. Look up.
Oh, I see it there. Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Thank you for your help, by the way. I don't
You're
know how
welcome. As it's thinking. Why don't you click on that icon up there? There we go. And then the upper right, there's a little gear.
Oh, sorry.
That gear right there. Click that, and then it's where it says check for updates. It's
Let's try it again.
check for updates is grayed out.
Okay, hang on. I have 5 app updates. There we go. See, and I've had this pop up before, but that's Animate CC and C. It's just in mobile device packaging. Is that what that is?
The previous versions up, the section previous versions, can you open up now, down a little bit right there? Previous versions.
See, it's still Edge for 2015. That's why I didn't update that one, because it still says Edge.
Okay, scroll up, please. Installed. Those are what's installed. Scroll up a little bit more. Okay, so we've got those for updates. Okay, let's scroll down. It's installed previous versions.
Yeah, there's the previous one I have now, the 2014.
Can you click on the Find Additional Apps link down there at the bottom? Is it grayed out?
Oh, it is, but these are the additional ones.
Okay,
And that was the only one that I saw, but I didn't think that that was the correct one.
that is the correct one.
So install that one.
Yes.
One of them was just a trial, and I wasn't sure if that was one or not.
Can you click on that link, installation failed, learn more?
Says another one is running, probably because that one's updating.
Okay, well, I think that will get you going. We'll come back, let's let it go,
Okay,
and
we'll go from there.
yeah.
Now that we've wasted half of class time already.
You know, if it helps somebody, then
And I may not be the only one. I don't know. I don't know how old of computers people have in their classes. Mine's back from, the beginning of 2015, I think. Either that or 2014.
yeah, possibly. Let me see here.
You changed your background.
It changes every few minutes.
Oh, okay. I was like, is that what you were doing while I was talking?
That's what the system was doing while you were talking.
Gotcha.
All right, so I'm trying to figure out what's sharing. What do you see on the screen now?
I see the week 1 discussion.
Okay, good. All right, so here is Goldie Neal, and Goldie is one of the other 2 students in the course.
Okay.
So we have 3 students in the course, and so that's perfect because you'll be able to post and then respond to 2 other students.
Which is a lot easier than reading 50 of them.
Yeah. So, so just some constructive feedback for Goldie. You can see she's got a nice long post here. She has references here to, these are actually called citations right there.
Right.
But I'm looking for the referencing section. So
Yeah, which is missing.
yeah, and then do you also know how to do the proper format for MPA format? How
Yeah.
you do that? Okay.
I've got a book on it, and then if you go to, what is it, Purdue OWL online,
Right.
they have examples.
Great. So, I'll reach out to Goldie and give her some constructive pointers. So, yeah, if you could reply to her and remember have your response be about 50 words or
Right.
more, and then.
And the initial's 150 to 200, correct?
Yes, this is a 200 level class, and so it's right in the range of 150. In fact, if you look at my announcements,
I think it says it in there.
introduction, it
Yeah.
says right there.
Yep.
Let's see, puncture.
Yep.
150, 200, and so that should be that. Okay. So now, did you have any time to think about the assignment?
I have been thinking about it more.
Okay.
And I was trying to think with doing the tweening between slides.
Between scenes?
Thank you. I call them slides, but scenes.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to be easy to do to where you aren't doing every little individual frame for movement?
Yeah, that's
and that's going to be the hard part, I think, with a lot of us is figuring our brains like to overanalyze things, how to simplify it and do it something simple.
Sure. Yep. A tween. Well, I'll be showing you the concept of tweening here tonight, and so that's a very good question. You want to really take advantage of Animate's ability to do tweening, and it's really good to try to rough out this storyboard and pretend like it's going live, and you have to think about the transition. So now, what have you decided as far as company goes?
We had talked about it Monday about animal adoption.
Yeah.
And you said use a local business, I believe.
I don't remember seeing that. Let me see. It doesn't have to be
use an actual company.
Yeah.
And we actually have a humane society down here in Charleston that I've actually adopted from and have had a daughter do a program with. So.
Okay. So let's talk just about this. What's the message? Do you have a message that you could put into a sentence?
Their motto basically is, it's better to adopt than to actually do puppy mills and stuff along those lines. Their message is a no-kill shelter. Adoption's the best. There's lots of animals that needs homes that are adoptable versus, puppy mills and that kind of stuff. Right.
Getting a brand new puppy from a puppy mill.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You talk about that concept, puppy mill. It's kind of an either or. Either you go and where are animals coming from?
Yeah.
You are talking about just dogs, I guess, in general here. I guess cats. Are you wanting to be inclusive of other types of species?
They have dogs and cats, but you do see every now and then they'll get a rabbit in that somebody has donated they aren't taking care of. But for the most part, they have strictly dogs and cats. They do have puppies and kittens and stuff along those lines.
Uh-huh. Is there a website for this?
It's Charleston Animal Society. Yeah, they're not in Somerville. They're actually in Charleston. Yeah, they're sending out an SOS right now because they have just went into a hoarding facility that had over 50 kittens in it. So they are to the max right now.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, right now they have a special going on for adoption to where you can adopt a dog or a cat for like $24.
Wow.
Because they are so overwhelmed. And they actually will foster out too. There's different rescues that are fostering out first because they're just at their capacity.
Wow. So let's go back to the assignment here. What is the message? So let's just kind of see what message we get at just from here. And I think these scrollable give different messages here.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not interested in doing anything along each of these messages, or are you?
Go back one. You could even do something along the lines like that.
Uh-huh.
With a foster instead of an actual adopt, because a lot of times their fosters will become adopt. They call them a foster failure because they failed to just foster them. They've actually adopted them.
Yeah, foster failures.
Okay. I never understood that. I was like, foster failures. I'm like, did they not like the dog or what? And then I understood it more to where they become a foster failure because they fall in love with the pet and they end up adopting it instead of, putting it out for adoption with somebody.
Yeah. Okay, so foster failure. I like the idea of maybe you could even promote the idea of become a foster failure.
Yeah.
In other words, adopt.
Yeah.
So you like this idea for a story, and so the message. What might be the message of your storyboard? What might you think could be a message? I just gave you an example of one, but
right, foster failure would be one. But I mean, basically, the message is adopt first or look to adopt first.
Yeah.
Instead of looking other places, So look to adopt first.
Yeah. Here's a thought, and that is failure is normally a bad thing unless you're a foster parent. The only place that being a failure is good is if you fail as a foster and become an adopter. Yeah. So target audience, what would that be?
Pretty much anybody. I mean, any animal lover is going to be your audience.
Awesome. Yep, any animal lover. So how might your message get in front of these animal lovers? One possibility is to integrate it into what they've got going on here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can integrate it into their site. They also have, in that catalog they're very active in, which is an actual animal catalog that they print down here called Carolina Tales. And I know they advertise in that. They also have, which is a fundraiser, they do all kinds of different oyster roasts or, black tie events or stuff along those lines they have.
Okay. And I was thinking about the possibility of placing the animated ad somewhere on where would a good place be? This is taken up by the scrollable timed.
Unfortunately, they don't have any sidebars to do advertising. So, if you go to maybe an Adopt Foster up into that link, Yeah. Maybe in one of those places you could put it in there.
Yeah, good idea. Foster an animal.
I mean, yeah, they have that scrollable bar again, but, they also right here, they have, you could put a scrolling one in here where they have the different things.
Yeah.
There they have sidebars, yeah, ads, which unfortunately they're down at the bottom.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to have a little animated story being told. Maybe shove this down and the story, click here, and the effect of the story is to, and this would be your animated ad, would tell the story of being a foster, and maybe you could even record a soundtrack with a script. That's a possibility too.
I know right now their current campaign is a dog that was found with its muzzle electrical tape shut, and she's now the spokesface dog of the Humane Society, Caitlin, and she was all over the news, and she's still their face of the Animal Society. So, that's something to look into as well.
Uh-huh. So, okay, so now target audience, the message, and what are we motivating them to do?
The motivation would be to adopt.
Adopt or to foster. Are you interested in talking about fostering first or adopting? I liked your idea of the foster easing, especially with the fact that right now they have so many cats. They really need to foster some of these animals out.
Yeah. Just so they can make room in the shelter, for these animals. Like I said, they brought like 50 in from a hoarding facility. And right now they came in and they were treating those for multiple issues, health issues. If they're already completed at their maximum capacity in-house, they have nowhere extra for those 50 cats to go. So they need fosters in order to adopt out some and bring them in,
Yeah.
And without fosters, they'd have to put them down. And since they're a no-kill shelter.
Yeah. Each of these, mouse over and you click on them. It might be a video.
Oh, guess what?
Okay.
We found where their their site didn't work right there. From a programming standpoint, you don't want that.
I lost that.
Charleston Animal Society. Which they might, those might be active links to where they just keep having an active link when they made their page and it doesn't go to anything. Yeah, it's just going to the same page.
Oh, interesting.
It's a page problem there. There it is, adopt, don't buy.
Let's see, there, click there, nothing happened.
It's just linked back to that page.
So might I suggest that that your whole story could be, I don't think this is it. Oh, there's continuity here. Let's see, there's two. Here's probably a story, a video story. What I was going to say is here, this could be your storyboard, roughly. This could be like the first screen. You could even use these graphic images, I think, potentially, as story, page one, and then you could probably read this text and as your audio track, and then possibly a transition. You could one of the things you can do with animation and tweening is to fade in and fade out text.
Okay.
And so some ideas would be fading in the text and how do I sign up? And you might be with your audio track asking that question out loud. So you might ask the question, how do I sign up? Or something like that. So you're verbalizing it, and at the same time you're seeing it show up. But I don't know. I'm just going to throw these ideas your way of things you can do with tweening and animation, and you can pick and choose. So
Now, can you do a combination to where you use, like you do a normal animation and use different images, like that one image that you had? Hang on.
yeah,
Like this one here, the Save a Life, or Be a Foster Save a Life. Like you do like a cute little animation for the first 15 seconds and then go into, once the animation ends, go into something along to where this would tween in or fade in, and the information would pop up at like the last 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah, the images, not only can you fade in and fade out text, but you can fade in and fade out images too. So the image would be, for example, you won't see it there, and then it might fade in. By the way, I forgot to talk about it, but here's some good branding right up in here.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and they have that's their actual logo, like nobody else, and those are their actual colors for that logo, I think. Yeah, because it's down there in the corner too.
so the usage of the branding of the logo, one thing you can do is place the logo on the lower left corner, for example, during the entire thing, and so it's just an image in the lower left of your animation. That's one possibility. Another possible usage of the logo would be on the final splash screen, where you display this information on the final splash screen. But branding right up front is important.
Yeah.
So, and one thought is to you can potentially animate the logo where Charleston Animal Society is big on the screen, and then it kind of fades down, zooms down, and comes down to a smaller size. Let's see. Be interesting to get a hold of the graphical images themselves, and maybe even you could even animate these guys a little bit, or try to do an animation of that. Would be interesting. Wouldn't it be interesting to have the logo and then have the cat animated so that it just kind of walks left to right, and your storyboard may scroll right to left?
Well, that's kind of what I was thinking of anyway, is, was using like a dog anyway, and you hear like the noise sniffing, and then have the dog come into the frame. You know what I mean? Because then you can actually see, and that catches your attention.
Yeah. So let's think about this tweening. Now, if we have a dog coming in the scene, are you thinking that the dog would walk?
Yeah.
So we would have to
animate each one individual walk. Yeah, step.
Yeah.
Which with the vector image wouldn't be too bad.
Well, there is a bone tool that helps with simulating walking.
Okay.
So that's one option, having a graphic that we then break up and then animate with the bone tool walking. That's a bone tool is where the animations compound, like where you move the thigh and the calf goes with it, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So would you use a vector image to do that then?
Well, yeah, and each object, each leg would be separate, for example. So, and, the thigh would be a
Right.
portion, the calf would be a portion, the foot would be a portion, possibly, or the calf and the foot would go together.
Right.
So, let's see what else.
Now, is that way too far advanced to what we're doing next week?
Next week, we're just creating assets. So,
But towards the end, we'll have something like that by week 4.
Well, week 3 is where we add the movement motion.
Okay.
So, let's see. What are we motivating them to do? Obviously, it would be to be a foster. Maybe that would be the focus.
Okay.
Foster and/or animate, but I like the push for. So I was going to say that this could be, the content here could be scene 1.
Yeah.
And you, for that matter, you could even use the text there to become possibly an audio track. And then here, this could be scene 2. You could even use these images. And then the same thing, scene 3 here. Potentially. These images, I don't know that they have much value, but
Okay.
pertinent to what the content. I think they're just kind of clip art, possibly. Now, we do need to discuss using images. These images may be copyrighted and may be owned by this organization. If they are, and if you do create something for the organization, then obviously you would inherit the rights to use their clip art or their images.
Well, I think with their logo, you can use it as long as you don't do any modifications to it.
I see.
Because I think I've checked with them before in order to do it for something else business-wise. And I think you can use their logo as long as you don't modify it anyway, because that's trademarked. Or copywritten, or one of the two. Anyway, they own it. You can't change it.
Yeah, it would be copywritten. And now, there's also the option of getting free clip art, free images that have an open license.
Right.
So either of those are options for you. So could be scene 1, scene 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's kind of that could be a good storyboard going all through there. And then the call to action here, possibly, with the logo. So there's a call to action. If we were in the 3rd class, you'll learn how to have an interactive button on the screen.
That's just HTML stuff, isn't it?
Well, when you create an animation and it's exported, it will be HTML.
Okay.
So, and let's see, this is adopted by call to action. So those are some ideas for you to consider with your storyboard assignment.
Okay.
There's a message, target audience, what are you motivating to do? So let's talk a little bit more about transition and the possibility of animating and tweening. So we've gone over a couple ideas of fading in and fading out text, fading in, fading out images. We've talked about the idea of tweening a dog image, maybe doing some walking. I'm wondering if there's some content or if there's some objects that can be drawn.
That can be drawn?
Yeah, some clip art. It'd be interesting to get a hold of some clip art.
I actually have some.
Really?
Like I have some cats that are already vectored. And I
Yeah,
have some dogs that are already vector clip art.
that would be kind of interesting to get a hold of that.
Would you like to? Well, I don't know if I have them in there or not. I know I have some cats that I've done already. And I can pull some dogs up probably pretty easy and get them vectored.
Yeah, see, there's a lot of information here that may or may not be part of the storyboard as far as content that's visualized.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, those are just like what kind of animals can be in there. Like, if an animal has surgery, they'll need a foster for it to recover before they can put it out on the adoption floor. Like I know, if like my dog had heartworms, well, they need a month of just quiet, calm, non-really hyperactive, anxiety-ridden places while they're treated to get over it. So, that would be the type of animals that you can foster.
Gotcha. Okay. So the story. So far, as far as tweening goes, we've got those ideas.
Like with this example here that you're pulling up on the screen, the balloon that's coming in, would that be animated, I don't want to say frame by frame to get it to come onto the actual screen? Like if you go from the third storyboard and the fourth one where it's coming in with the arrows, would that be done individually between those two?
That's a tween.
Okay.
That would be a tween. So if it goes from off the screen
to where it's starting to come on, yeah.
So it'd be a motion tween.
Okay.
And so you just have the beginning frame being off the screen, and then you decide how many frames you want to take before it ends up
on the screen.
Yeah, right. It'll probably be right above the box. See this? See both this and the box are coming.
Yeah.
See here.
Right, and I was just thinking between 3 and 4 is that, like we had talked about for movement, how you do, a normal animator with a flip book would have to draw each individual one. Is that the same case with 3 and 4? You'd have to draw each individual one and tell it, okay, I want 6 frames before it comes in? You
just have to, are you talking about when you do the animation?
Yeah, like in your storyboard, like obviously it comes from things being off screen. In frame 1, it's blank sky. Frame 2, they're coming in. So between frame 1 and frame 2, when they start coming in, or storyboard artwork 1 and 2, before they come in, I guess when you animate it, I guess we'll have to get in the program and see how you make those to where it knows to start bringing them in. Like
Right.
they start floating in.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out is if we draw the storyboard, say the first, like, say for example for mine, my first one's going to be blank and you just hear noises. You know, obviously you'll have your voiceover or whatever. Second
Right.
one may be something coming into it.
Right.
Third one will be more coming into it, you know, to where it's more person in, or like in this case, more balloon in and more clouds in. Those transitions between those two, or those tweening between those 1 and 2 and 2 and 3 to where more stuff is coming in, do we draw each individual one then? Or
No.
will that be like you were saying where you tell it there's movement?
Yeah. All you have to do is, for example, 1, 2, 3, all these clouds. So what these are an example of is, let's say we're watching the movie take place, and we're taking a screenshot of the movie, and this would be like frame 1, and this would be like frame 100, and this would be like
Oh, okay.
frame 200 and frame 300. So between frame 1 and frame 100, there were 99 frames that took place through a tween that moved these from being off the stage
On.
to this position. Yeah.
Okay.
And all we have to do is do the beginning position of each object and its final position,
Okay.
and it will do all the rest. And so we'll watch the movie, and these things will be moving across, and you didn't have to do anything to get them to move. All you had to do is frame 1, have them off the stage on the right here.
Okay.
And frame, let's say 500 or so, you know, we might have several coming across here, but
Gotcha.
let's
Okay.
say frame 100, they would be, let's say, at this position.
Yeah.
Frame 200, frame 300,
Gotcha.
frame 400. But all we had to do is move this cloud on frame 1, and then like frame, let's see, this is just moving off.
400 or 500 or whatever.
600. It could be off the stage on the left.
Yeah.
And so
Okay.
its journey is going to go from here in frame 1 to off the stage in frame
500 or 600 or whatever. Yeah.
something like that.
Okay.
And we don't have to do anything because it will just be moving across at 24 frames per second, which is the typical speed. And so every 24 frames, a second will pass by. And so that will be the speed that these objects will be moving typically.
So basically, each one of these storyboards is like, all right, you know, between storyboard 1 and storyboard 2, that's what's going to happen. By storyboard 2, that's what's on the picture. Like
Exactly.
So between storyboard 2 and storyboard 3, you froze storyboard 3. That's what's now happening between 2 and 3. Even though stuff has happened between 2 and 3, that's what it should, like if you were to stop it after 300 seconds, that's what you're seeing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, 300 frames. Yeah, there's 24 frames per second. So 300 frames would go by in, so let's do a little bit of math. If you had 24 frames per second and you were at frame 300, about how many seconds?
You said 24 frames per second times 300. Let me get my calculator out. It's too late at night for me to do that big of math. Times 300. 7,200.
Okay,
So let me rephrase my question.
Holy crap, that's a lot of frames.
All right, well, hold on. If I'm going to, every 1 second, I'm going to move 24 frames, how many seconds does it take for me to move 300 frames? So if I'm moving 24 frames every second,
And you want to do 300.
and I'm just going to go 300 frames and pause it, how many seconds have taken place?
72? Hang on.
not trying to embarrass you. I'm just
No,
trying
no,
to-
you're perfectly fine, honey. It's late at night for me. So if it's 24 frames per second and you want to do 300 seconds.
No. 300 frames.
Twelve and a half.
Good. So how did you do that?
I took 300 divided by 24.
Good. Very good.
Sorry, I had to break a calculator out. I can't do that math in my head.
Yeah.
Not right now. It's 10 o'clock at night.
No, I wasn't expecting you to.
I've already done too much math today.
So to go 100 frames, that would take about how many seconds?
3. Because you said, no, 24 every second. You want to do how many seconds? I'm sorry.
So if we're moving 24 frames every
Per second.
about how many seconds pass by if we've gone 100 frames?
Four. Well, 4.2.
Yes, very good. So about 4 seconds takes place every 100 frames.
Wow. That's fast.
Yeah, 24 frames per second. Now we could slow it down actually, so that we.
That's amazing to think that all the animation that you see, how detailed it is so quick.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think most normal people realize how much of an art that is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like some of the movies that are computer generated that have animal fur in it, how they have to do each individual one to make it move. Do you know how many frames that would, or how many frames that would be for
Yeah.
one thing?
Yeah.
Incredible.
Luckily, the software can be taken advantage of to
Right.
do that, a little bit of that rendering.
Walt was a genius then.
Yeah. So, so if we want to do about a 30-second animation, what would you say? About how many frames would that be?
Well, if there's 24 frames in a second, you want to do 30 seconds, it would be 720. Right? Because there's 24 in a second. You want to do 30 seconds.
All right.
So
how-
720.
So, 30 times 24.
See, you're doing your calculator too.
How did you know?
I can hear you typing. It's too late for math for you too.
Yeah. So how many total frames? 720.
720. It's a lot of
Okay.
frames for 30 seconds.
So, so here we have how many scenes or snapshots we have?
Well,
12. So if we're gonna, how many total frames are we gonna go through on this animation?
288.
So how did you calculate that?
12 times 24. Because there's 24 in between each individual one. And
Okay,
there's 12 of them total.
let's go back for a second. How many seconds? How many seconds should our animation be? About
30.
30. How many frames are we burning up each second?
24.
And so we're going to burn up a total of how many frames?
6.
No, how many total frames? If we do 24 a second and we do 30 seconds, you calculated it a minute ago.
Sorry. 720.
Right, 720. Now, if we're going to be going through 720 frames over this whole story, this particular storyboard, which has 12 images in it, approximately how many frames per image are we seeing take place. Again, we go through 720 over a period of 12 different.
Of 30 seconds.
Right, 720 frames. And we've got 720 frames, and we're going to do 12 different pictures here. Scene 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So each scene represents how many frames, would you say? 720.
With that one specifically?
In this example, if it were 30
60.
seconds long. Very good. How'd you get that?
I took 720 divided by 12.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Good. So each of these scenes represents about 60 frames taking place, because we're going to be starting frame 1, ending in frame 720. If we've got 12 of these, then it will take about 60 each of these. Each of these scenes represents about 60 frames. Now, 60 frames is about how many seconds?
Well, there's 24 in a sec, or 24 in a second.
Yeah.
24, 48, 50. No, hang on. 24, 48 is double. Add another 24. So about 2.5.
That's right. Exactly 2.5.
Yeah, I didn't use the calculator for that one. Aren't you proud?
Yes, I am. Yeah. 2.5 seconds for each of these. And a total of how many seconds for the whole thing?
Six.
For the
About
whole,
7.
for the whole thing, a total of how many seconds?
Oh, 30. We said 30.
That's right. Good. 2.5 seconds per scene in this example.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I think it's time for us to take a break.
Now that you've made me think hard.
you deserve a break. Let me put it that way.
All right.
All right. So about 5 minutes or so, and we can resume. Let me see if I can pause the recording. And not sure where the screen is to do the pausing. Let's see here.
Isn't there a little button up in the top that you can stop recording in your Zoom?
In this,
Yeah, in Zoom. There should be a button to stop recording. Same
yeah,
button you push record, there should be one to stop.
yeah.
Or at least that's what I've been told. I've never run a Zoom, so.
Yeah, it should be here, and I'm not seeing it show up. Huh. Go.
What about the very bottom? Is there, like, I have a record button at the very bottom of my screen. Do you have a record button on yours?
I have a Zoom window or dialogue, but the share show all windows.
Yeah, because mine has at the bottom, invite, participate, screen share, chat, and record. So I could technically record your recording.
Video.
Oh, by the way, the animate.
The what? Are you still there? Can you hear me?
I can now.
Oh, I disconnected the cable so that it would bring the screen back to my laptop. I wonder what the key. Okay. So see, do you see anything on the screen? Let's see.
It's just the main Zoom screen.
Okay. What do you see now?
Says you have started sharing, and it says week 1 assignment.
See. Is this the last one that we were on where it says week?
Yeah.
Story?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Good. All right. So so you're really good. You got your math down. I really am confident that you get. Oh, let's see here. Can you see it now? Is it scrolling?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'm really confident that you have your math figured out. And so you know that it's going to be about 720 frames long. You know that you're going to be going through 24 frames every second. You know that you don't need to draw images for every frame, but you can place objects off the stage and move them across the stage by doing the beginning location and then also doing the ending location, and that solves that. So for those types of tweens, and you know that with 12 images here, that they're representing about 60 frames a piece, which it represents about 2.5 seconds. So that's just a sample, an idea. So with yours, you can imagine your storyboard going along, and after every 2.5 seconds, each scene here in your assignment would be basically a snapshot of what you see on the screen at that time. So that's one way of doing the assignment. And then you can't really tell what the animation is doing just by looking at a snapshot every 60 frames. So you have to add a little bit of text at the bottom that describes what's taking place during those 60 frames, if you will. Does that make sense?
That does make sense. Is there any way with that image that's in that scroll box to make it larger so we can actually see what examples of the text underneath say?
Yeah, let's see.
Just because that way you know if you have a voiceover or you have like the arrows show movement, but you can just say in this frame this is what you hear, in this one this is what is happening, to where you can read it and it gives an example.
Yeah.
Because that would give a little more understanding as to know what to put in those frames and what to say.
Can you see it now?
I see a Google page.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can. How about now? What do you see now?
I still see a Google page.
All right, I'm gonna get this. Watch this.
I see Google. There we go.
Is this what you meant?
Yeah, this is what I meant, to where you can actually read it.
Okay, good. Scene 1, as you can see, this shows you how many seconds. So according to this is happening at beginning 0 seconds. This is happening 1 second. This is happening at 3. This is happening at 5. That's obviously not exactly accurate because we know that on the average, this is actually, there's like 2.5 seconds taking place here, 2.5 taking place here.
Do we have to put the seconds like that?
Yeah, it's good to have an idea, the timing.
Well, and you said ours was, what, 20, between every second was 24 frames?
24 frames are used up each second, yep. So, and you want about 30 seconds, so it's 720 frames of animation.
But okay, so if we were doing scenes like this,
yeah,
we would do a total of 6 boards?
You can do, you don't have to.
If we're doing 30 seconds worth, and there's about 2.5 seconds in between, no, we're doing 30 seconds worth.
Right. See this right here? See this 30? 27 to 30?
27 to, where?
Right down here.
Oh, you guys, it does, hang on. Let me see if I can go on bigger screen. There we go. Yeah.
So they're saying this scene happens between 27 and 30 seconds.
Okay.
This particular one. So this would be 0 to 2.5, 2.5 to 5, 5.5 to let's see, 5 to 7.5, 7.5 to 10, and so on. 10.
But we're gonna have 12 frames or
You
12
can-
scenes.
Yeah, you can do about 12 different scenes here.
Okay.
Yeah, in telling your story. Right. And if you do it right, you can make each of these frames have the, well, I was thinking about something else. The background, if you had some background that didn't change, but this background kind of changes. So, because
Just a little bit.
yeah, it's blue for sure, but the green you can see. Let's see the.
It comes
blue.
in as the box floats down.
Yeah.
Which technically, if you're drawing it, that could always be there. You know what I mean? It's just off stage.
Yeah.
To where then by scene 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, it starts floating up. The background can, to where that green comes in.
Move phones up away from the package. Begins to open one flap at a time. The box is floating down. Right flap opens up the stage.
Right, but you could have the box floating down, but you could have the background moving up to where it makes it seem like the ground's coming upward.
Yes,
The box is coming downward.
Yeah, that's good. That's how you do that. That's true. That's a good point. You're right. You can move.
You can already have it off stage to where it's stationary for the first, like in this one, first 6 scenes, and then between 6 scenes, 6, 7, then the background is moving up, but the box is moving down, but it doesn't look like the back, you know what I mean? It doesn't really look like the background's moving up because that box is coming down.
Very smart. Yep. Moving your background definitely can cause a simulated movement of the objects on your screen. That's a very good point and a very good principle.
So that might be easier to do is make a background move up or down. In this case, move up to where it looks like the box is moving down to where technically that box is stationary.
That's
Instead of
very
making the box, because in this case, you'd have to draw the box floating down every time.
yeah.
Where
Yeah, no, you're right. That's the way you would do this. You would
Okay.
move the background up.
but it makes it look like the box is floating down. And the
That's right.
only movement that the box technically has is the flaps opening.
That's right.
So you would draw the box separately with the flaps opening, but have the background just technically moving up because you've already drawn it in the very beginning. It's just been off scene.
That's right.
Okay.
Yep, you got it. And then the clouds would be moving up too.
Right, but the clouds would be moving up.
Right. So here we got the clouds moving right to left.
Now, with the, for scene 1 through, let's say, scene 4. Scene 4 would start with a different background. Because then that same background's the same to where it's moving up. You just have an extra cloud in scene 4.
Yeah, when the moment that the balloon breaks loose.
Yep, then you have a different background.
Then that moment, then the background will start moving up.
Yeah. But somehow between scene 4 and scene 5, that extra cloud disappears. Because they have an extra cloud in there.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's something you'll have to keep track of, too, to where if you do something to where you're just moving the background up or down or left or right, that you're consistent with the way it looks. Because if you have an extra cloud and all of a sudden it disappears, you may notice, depending on what's in front of it, around it, behind it.
Yeah. So these will be moving. These clouds are moving right to left. And the moment that this breaks loose, then those
Clouds are going up to down.
Going up. Yeah. Their motion would. At the moment that the frame that this breaks loose, then immediately the clouds, and that would be the stop frame, a keyframe we call it, where this where the motion was going from right to left, and it had and tween from right to left, and then the moment that then we would place the object here, object meaning the clouds here in these positions, and that would be basically the end of their right to left movement.
Yeah.
Then we would place the
Movement up.
yeah, we would go another 100 frames, whatever, and move the cloud up off the stage. And then, so the motion will have been right to left, and then from here going upward, because now this is going down. It will make it look like this is going down. And both of them would be going up. And so just by moving, doing a tween over the next 100 frames where this cloud is here but ends up here, and this cloud is here and ends up here, will make it look like the box went down.
Yeah.
And the balloon went up, for that matter.
Or you could make the clouds, like, once they move from scene 5 to scene 6, they don't really move very much after that. Like, the drawing looks like they move a little bit. But then it's just the blue that moves. So then those clouds could be a separate layer, I guess you could say, to where then the clouds are stationary and just that blue is what moves.
Yeah, now that you mentioned layers, there is a layer. There are the concepts of layers in Adobe Animate, and you would typically have a separate layer for each object that moves.
Okay.
So they kind of live on their own layer, and then they are animated on their own layer.
On their own little layer, like their own little grouping. So you could have a layer, say, be the clouds, and
Yes.
those could stop moving even though they moved prior scenes prior to that. And then the new layer, like the blue background, would be animated to move upward.
Yep.
And the box would stay stationary and then animate it to open flaps. And okay.
Right.
I'm starting to understand this a little bit better.
Yes, you are. And so you can see some words showing up here. So the words fade in, concept. I think there's an animation of the light bulb coming
Yeah,
out.
that's moving up.
So that would be an interesting one to do, because the portion of the light bulb, let's see, I'm trying to figure out how to explain appearing, having it appear like it's three-dimensional, that that the light bulb's inside and it's being moved. It's got to be hidden by the front part of the box.
But I wonder if that's not drawn, like we were talking about how each individual thing for movement has to be drawn. If that's not one of those concepts to where even though it's in the box within so many frames between scene 8 and scene 9, that it is drawn to do action to come out.
Yeah, if it does that, then he'd have to
Draw each individual one, wouldn't you?
move
Like
it.
a flip book.
There'd be a keyframe. Each frame would be a keyframe and would be a separate position of that object, that light bulb.
So how would that work? Like you were talking about how you can do, what did you call it? Where you can show movement like walking onto a frame? Would that be that same concept there?
See, walking, I was talking about the bone tool.
That was it, a bone tool.
Yeah, bone tool is for a cumulative animation. And I say cumulative because where the thigh moves, the calf follows. And so,
Okay, so this is something totally different with the light bulb.
yes.
Okay.
So we do see the word concept fading in, and then also these beams also fade in. And then here.
So like in scene 11 where it says one sample at a time comes out of the box and goes bigger and then fades. How would you make that look like it's coming out of a box? Would that be what was the term you just used? Like we were just discussing with the light bulb. The light bulb coming out of the box would be the same thing with the samples coming out of the box, where you would have to draw it piece by piece.
Yeah, let me think for just a second while I evaluate whether or not you could just do it with a tween. Let's see. I think the way I would do that is I would have the front of the box, the front pieces, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, whatever's in the front, I would have on one layer, and then I'd have the back portion of the box and the middle and back on a different layer. And so then by doing that, then I could put the light bulb on a middle layer. So
I understand that, but then how would you do the flaps opening? That would be within those layers for the front part and the back part. Because remember, we're doing movement on the box too, to where the flaps come open, and then the light bulb comes out.
let's see, flap opening.
You have a total of 4 flaps that pop open.
Right. Well, you know, one thing we could do is just, there's no transition of it opening up. It's just bam, there it is.
Right, we don't. Well, that's what you're saying with those frames in between scene 5 and scene 6. There's 24 frames in there. Between scene 5, you have 24 frames that goes to scene 6 to where that flap could open.
There's scene 5 is going to take up 60 frames. Remember,
Okay.
60 times 12 is 720.
Oh, that's right. But 60 frames then. You have 60 frames within 3 seconds to open that box on that one flap.
Right. 2.5 seconds.
You figure each flap opening is 3 seconds. So you have 60 frames in those 3 seconds to open those flaps.
Yes. 2.5.
So my guess would be with that many frames in between that many seconds, it has to be to where it is each individual one drawn to show that movement.
It's animated, yeah.
Yeah. Because I don't think it's just like, bam, it pops open, because that's technically not how boxes usually pop open, unless it's a Jack in the Box.
Right. So let's think about that animation. Because there's also gradient there.
On the box. Yeah. My guess would be it would be drawn. Each individual, you'd draw the gradient, but you would have to draw the gradient with the opening. But we don't know, because we don't have the individual, between 16 and 6-7, we don't have the actual animation yet to know what it looks like.
How the animation would take place for the flap opening.
Yeah. I think if we actually saw the finished product, you'd be able to look at it and go, yeah, that's drawn, or yeah, that's tweened. But by just looking at the storyboard without having an idea of what it's going to finish look like, we're just assuming at this point.
Agreed.
Because scene 7, it says, yeah, the left flap opens, but how does it open? Is it just pop open like a Jack in the Box, or does it open like a normal flap? My guess would be it opens like normal flaps in a box, because then the light bulb floats out.
Right. So keep in mind, you've got these gradients. So I'm wondering how, let's see, gradient, it would be down, and the dark side would be like this one here. So gradient would be down, and then...
But you can move gradients in InDesign and in Photoshop when you draw it to show movement. Like in InDesign, when you put a gradient on a square, you can take their tool and move it to where you have light on top, dark on bottom, or light on the side, dark on the side. You know what I mean? Like, you can move it around to where it changes where the gradient is and where the lightness is.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if maybe they did that there.
Yeah, that's a possibility. But I am sure that this would have to be on one frame. The front portion would have to be on one layer.
And the back on another.
And back on another layer, so that we can do this easily. let's see. Yeah, that's what I think. And I think it can be done with a tween. Yeah. Okay, so you're pretty clear on all the work that would have to go into this?
I think so.
Okay.
I guess what confuses me the most, or what's going to be interesting for me the most, is like between scene 1 and scene 2. How am I going to know what's going to draw in scene 2? You know what I mean? Do you just pick something and hope between scene 1 and scene 2 you figure out within those 60? I don't want to say, I keep saying frames because I'm thinking like movies. Between those 60 frames that you get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
With an idea, if you have an idea in your head, like for example, with this box with the light bulb coming out, if I was to draw something like that and want something by scene 4 to pop out like that, how am I going to know, if I put in scene 2, say the box started open, scene 3, the box is pretty much open, something's popping out, scene 4, something's popped out. How am I going to know, for sure between scene 1 and scene 4, I can get all of that done with those shots? Like if scene 2 has the box sitting there, but it's like the flaps are starting to come open.
Where scene 6 is.
Yeah, I'm just talking about like if I was making this and I wanted it to start scene 6 to start on scene 2. You know what I mean? How do you know what to put in those scenes to make sure that between scene 1 and scene 2 it's going to happen? You know what I mean? Say it doesn't happen until scene 3. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? Like if you draw out a storyboard and you say in scene 2 I want this to happen, but you can't get it to happen between those 60 frames between scene 1 and scene 2, do you just bump it back then?
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. I'm just trying to figure out, like, if we draw scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, scene 4, how do we know by scene 4 what we want to happen in scene 4 is going to happen? Maybe it doesn't happen until scene 5 because between scene 1 and scene 4 you don't have all of your tweens and your drawings correctly.
That's where you can that's where this comes into play, where you plan out the frames in your storyboard, and but I don't think I'm answering your question.
I guess, like scene 4, it says that the balloon with the purple package floats onto the stage. What if, say, for example, you have too many drawings between scene 1 and scene 4 and those 60 seconds in between each one to where scene 4, it's like a movie. You're watching a movie. You see certain things and you pause it at a certain time. You have to do something to be able to get it to that point in time where you pause it. How do you know for sure that you're able to get all of that information in prior to it? Like, I know this is what you want to happen. By the time you go to start drawing it out, how do you know for sure you can make it happen in that board?
Yeah, okay.
Does that make a little bit of sense?
Yeah. Yep.
Say, for example, you by scene 4, you're drawing this balloon in the box coming on the frame. But what's to say, that box doesn't come in right away because you didn't have enough prep in between scene 1 and scene 4, like with your drawings.
So
kind of make it happen to where you're like, all right, I know I have to do this. And
yeah, you do have complete control about the number of frames, because you decide exactly how long you will take to go from for any kind of animation. And because you decide, you know exactly at what frame it will be in a certain position. In fact, because it extrapolates all that automatically.
Okay.
If you move across in, let's say, 24 frames, if your object's off the stage on the right, and then you 24 frames later you have it off the stage to the left, then it's going to, in 1 second, it's going to go right to left, bam, and it'll automatically do those tweens.
Okay.
But instead, if you make your animation to take 10 seconds, and your first object in frame 1 is on the right, and then in frame, let's see, 10 times 24, 240. In frame 240, it's off the left. Then the tweening, the Adobe Animate will automatically slow it way down.
Okay, so it does it for you then.
Yep.
Okay, that's what I was trying to figure out is like, I know, old school, you drew frame by frame to make sure it worked. But with this, with it kind of animating some of it and your storyboard saying, say scene 3 to scene 4, that doesn't necessarily come on from stage right on scene 4. How do you change it? But you're saying it automatically can slow it down and to where it puts it where you want it.
Yeah, it will automatically. If we say we want this thing to take 10 seconds for it to go from here to there, and so what you do is you go 10 seconds times 24, so it's 240. So what that means is in frame 0, we put it on the right.
And in frame 240, we put it on the left.
That's right. And we insert a keyframe because we have to insert a keyframe every time we have an object be in a new position that we manually set. And remember, it does all the rest in between. So we just manually set the 0 position, and we manually set the 240th frame position. And so then when we manually set the keyframes and put the object, that exact object, in those locations, frame 0 on the right, frame 240 on the left, then Adobe Animate says, okay, I've got 240 frames or 10
to move this from right to left.
So I'm going to move it 1/240th of the way each frame.
Okay.
Right.
See, and I'm one of those, I'm a visual person, so I couldn't visualize that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
The way you just explained it, visualized it, and put it into perspective more.
Good.
So, for example, like we'll just use the adoption one. Say I have a dog that's going to come on frame, and the first frame is like scene 1 where it's a blank frame, but you hear noise. By scene 4, it's actually on the frame, and it's come in. And I tell it, all right, from scene 1 to scene 4, I want it to come in on stage or on scene. That can automatically do that for me with the bone thing and with the Animate saying I want this to happen within 240 frame or 240 seconds.
Right.
Frames.
Frames.
Yeah. Frames.
Yep. And so it will leave a line on your animation, and there'll be 240 dots on that line, and each of the small dots on the line of basically from the right side to the left side, and that line is the motion that this particular object is going to go.
Okay.
Right, and there are 240 dots on it, meaning each frame I'm going to move it 1/240th of the way there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, and then you can actually bend and move and actually move that whole animation. You first started out by going right to left, but then you think, okay, well, I'm going to bend it, and you can bend the path, and it will go up and down depending on how you bend it. So you can actually
fun.
tweak the whole motion of that thing after you've created it. So, and it can go all over the place. The line can be.
So you could basically have something that's supposed to go from right to left, but then you can have it kind of like weave a little bit.
Yeah, just by bending that line. Yeah, you can make it follow.
This could be fun.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm now very intrigued by this. I want to start playing, but.
Okay. All right, I want to show you an example of a thing on YouTube, just to kind of give you. It relates to what we're talking about.
Okay.
Well, let's see. What I want to do is.
I just want to make sure I understood it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. So, here's a concept. I don't know if you can hear it though. Let's see. You can't hear that, right?
Uh-uh.
It's because I didn't share the
Let me see, let me do a new share here. I think I do it with the computer sound. So there's a man by the name of Ken Burns, and he's known for creating documentary films.
Okay.
And his technique is actually using images, and
Okay.
by zooming in the image, he can create what ends up feeling like a movie.
Kind of like what we were talking about Monday in Photoshop, to where it's just multiple images that are put together that show movement.
Yeah. And so it's very well done. And what he uses is fades, and he actually moves the image. And so he's become very popular with it. But what I want you to do is think about how he accomplishes this this movie. So let me see if you can hear it. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I
music?
can hear it.
Okay.
The Civil War was fought in
This is
10,000
video
places.
that he's
At
got.
Big Bend, Big Sandy, and the Big Sunflower
This
River.
is video that was
From Bunker Hill, West Virginia, and Blue Springs, Tennessee, and Cairo, Illinois, to Golgotha Church, Georgia, and Christiansburg, Kentucky.
Going on there.
At Citrus
This is
Point on the
video?
Cimarron River,
Yeah.
and along Cowskin Bottom. At Pebbly Run and La Glorieta Pass.
So
And
he's
Gettysburg.
telling a story. So he's got music going on. He's got.
I think if I had my choice of
Why
all the
not?
moments
This
to
is
be
an
present
interview.
at in that
Right.
war period, it would be at Gettysburg during Lincoln's delivery of his
I'm going
speech.
to go ahead.
Maybe to have seen him craft those
Excellent.
beautiful words, those marvelous
Fades in.
healing words, and then deliver them. They were for everyone for all time. They subsumed the entire war and all in it. It showed his compassion for everyone, his love for his people. That's what I'd like to be.
Okay, so
On
there's
November
a picture.
19th, Lincoln traveled to Gettysburg to dedicate the new
He's
Union
got an audio
Cemetery.
track going on in the background.
The featured speaker was Edward Everett of Massachusetts,
You
a
can see
diplomat,
he's kind of got it
clergyman, and
moving
celebrated
a little bit
orator.
to make it feel like
The president had been invited almost as an afterthought to offer a few appropriate remarks.
So these are actual images that are moving.
Everett
a
spoke
little
for
bit to
not
make
quite
it feel
2 hours.
That's right.
Then Lincoln rose.
He's jumping into different
A
parts.
local photographer took his time focusing.
Image.
Presumably, the president could be counted.
Wait, those are the same.
The president
Yes,
had been
so look.
invited. The featured speaker was Edward Everett of Massachusetts, a diplomat, clergyman, and celebrated orator. The president had been invited almost as an afterthought to offer a few. The featured speaker was Edward Everett of Massachusetts, a diplomat, clergyman, and celebrated orator. The president had been invited almost as an afterthought to offer a few appropriate remarks. Everett spoke for not quite 2 hours.
Just
Then
by
Lincoln
hitting
rose.
different parts.
Part of that picture.
A local photographer took his time focusing. Presumably, the president could be counted on to go on for a while. But he spoke just 269 words. He started off by reminding his audience that just 87 years had passed since the founding of the nation. And then he went on to embolden the Union cause with some of the most stirring words ever spoken.
Now he's zooming.
Lincoln was heading back to his seat before the photographer could open the shutter.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed that was
He
Lincoln.
felt that he had failed, that it was a poor speech, that the people didn't like it. It was so brief, less than 2 minutes. He felt that he had
Zoomed
failed.
in,
Lehman,
and
his friend
the
Walter
audio
Lehman, was
track
sitting next to him on the stand. When he sat down, there was
video
just a sprinkling of
started
blood.
up.
And he said, Lehman, that
And-
speech won't scowl. That's what you say about a
Yeah.
plow in the prairies when the mud doesn't come off it.
The cheek of every American must
But there's
tingle
no
with shame as he
transition at
reads
all.
the
I mean,
silly,
you get right
flat,
back to the
dishwatery
picture.
utterances
There's no,
of the man who has
There's
to
a
be
fade
pointed
in right
out
there.
to
See
intelligent
that?
foreigners as the President of the United States.
So how did they get the pictures
Chicago
to where they
Times.
move just a little bit?
Dear
moving just a
Mr.
little bit.
President,
Yeah, like if you
I
look
should
at
be
it, it looks
glad
like
if
an
I
actual
could
video.
flatter
Now,
myself
is that a video
that I
of
came as
both of
near to the central
Yeah,
idea of the occasion in
I
2
don't
hours
think so, but
as
it
you
could
did
be.
in 2 minutes. Edward
Good
Everett.
idea.
Because if you look at the pictures, they
That was
kind
a
of look
fade
like
to
a
black.
video.
Yeah, that was a fade to black right there.
407 years ago,
There's a zoom.
our fathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty
Now, is that
and
zoom
dedicated
in, like,
to the
anime
proposition that
does
all
it, or is
men
that
are
an actual
created
zoom, like a
equal.
video?
No, you were made to think.
Now
that
we are
this
engaged
is
in a
just
great civil
single
war,
image, and
testing whether
and
that
with
nation
this-
or any
with
nation
this,
so conceived
animate,
and so dedicated
now
can long endure.
zooming out. There's a fade to
Okay.
We are met here on a great battlefield of that war.
So this is a zoom.
We have
of
come
the
to
image.
dedicate a portion
One
of it
image.
as a
It's not
final
video.
resting place for
that-
those who here gave
not
their
looking at
lives
video,
that their
looking
nation
at
might live.
What appears to be a zoom in. Zoom
It is
out.
altogether
Now,
fitting
do you
and
pick
proper
a
that we should
specific
do this.
location on that page to zoom in, to
Yes.
zoom out to?
But in a larger sense, we cannot
Now this
dedicate,
there, obviously there's a
we
video.
cannot
Yeah,
consecrate,
that's real video.
we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they have thus far so nobly carried on. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they here gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God,
We're almost
shall have a
done.
new birth of freedom, and
So
that
that's a
government
zoom
of
in
the
on
people,
picture.
That's right.
by the people,
And really
For
what
the
it is
shall not
What
perish
you
from
do.
the earth.
you have the picture getting bigger in your, so the picture getting bigger.
Ken Burns may be the most renowned documentary filmmaker of his time. His 1990 PBS documentary, The Civil War, was...
So what appears like a zoom in is actually the image being made
Blown up.
bigger. Yeah.
So how do you, like some of those images where it was a big picture
Right.
and they blew it up to a certain area, how does it still keep that resolution to where it's pretty crisp?
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because like that one picture, like if you normally zoom into a picture in a specific area and it's only a certain resolution, it gets super pixelated.
Yeah.
So how in Animate do you do that to where you blow up the picture and it still stays that same resolution without making it fuzzy? You know what I mean?
Yeah. He was dealing with very, he created a high resolution scan.
Okay.
And there's a very good chance that what he did is blew it up on hard copy and then created another scan. So it's just to avoid the pixelation. So
Right, because I was going to say, I know most pictures, once you take the picture, I mean, obviously those are old school pictures, so they're probably on hard copies first. That you, like you said, would have to be scanned in and blown up. But I wonder how, I mean, you could only blow them up so big before they do start getting pixelated.
yeah, so but again, if you are, here's a thought, and that is, if you take a scan of an image and then you take that image and blow it up, you will get it pixelated.
Yeah.
But if instead you you take a printer, a copy machine, and you blow it up using a copy machine, and then you scan it up, scan the blown up piece and part, then the resolution of your scan will be exactly the same as the resolution of your scan of the full thing. So you put off doing the scan until you, using a copy machine, until you have the exact blow up.
But even
then you scan it.
But like, even if you do a picture at home and you scan it in, well, even if you,
the second that you go to
how do you blow up an image that's already like, if you have a 4:6 image, how do you blow it up without it getting fuzzy? Even if you copy it.
Well, again, don't do the blowing up once it's you scanned it, because that
No, I'm saying, first off, say I have a hard copy 4:6 I took with a camera and it's already printed out.
Right.
If you blow that 4:6 up any, you're still going to get fuzziness. Like, if you put it on a copying machine to blow it up, aren't you going to get fuzziness?
Yep.
So like you were saying, though, you take that image and you blow it up first.
Yep.
And then you scan it in. You're still going to have fuzziness, though.
That's right. You have the same problem with blowing up on a copy machine as you do in electronic, but you can minimize it if you delay the scan until you've got it on the copy machine the size that you want to then scan. So
I understand that, but I'm saying anytime you take a certain image of it and you blow it up, you got fuzziness. I'm just wondering, like, for that you just showed, if, a lot of those pictures back in the day, they're real little. Like, they're not real big pictures.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering how he could zoom in that close to that little itty bitty section of people and it still be the same quality.
Yeah. I agree with you. I don't know.
That's what I'm just trying to figure out how he did that without it looking fuzzy, because the more, like you were saying, if it was blowing up the picture, I mean, you would have to be zooming into that one specific area. How are you not getting it fuzzy? You know what I mean? I guess I'm trying to figure out, knowing with pictures and that the more you mess with them, the more fuzzier they get, the more you're blowing up, the resolution gets poor, unless you make them a vector, which I know you can take images and make them vector images to where they look lifelike. And maybe that's what he had to do to where he could zoom in and make them bigger.
Yeah, good point.
That's the only way I can see to blow anything up that's so little and make it to where you can blow it up and really zoom in on a certain area without losing that resolution.
Yes, I agree with you. So what's on the screen right now?
The 12 scenes.
Okay. And what's on it right now?
The assignment 1.
Okay, good.
Previous for that, you were shopping.
Yeah, that's our website. That's our website, by the way. That was the one that was down.
Gotcha. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Yeah. Okay, so now if we're good with the assignment.
I think so. I just got to figure out how to draw it out.
Okay. So the assessment. This week, you'll get introduced to the tools you'll use to create your animated project. Go to week 1's course media page and click on the link to watch the tutorial. Click here on through this tutorial. Let's have some fun. And your assessment must include the minimum requirements. The list below is not a step-by-step on how to do your animation sample in order to be able to create the correct type of symbol for your creature to animate on its own timeline. You will need to watch the tutorial and join or watch the live sessions. So create a new HTML5 canvas document using Adobe Animate. Make the stage size, set the frame rate 24 frames per second. Make the animation 10 to 15 seconds long and only play once. Draw a creature using any or all of the shape tools. Add some type of wings, something that will animate to make it look like your creature is flying. Import or make your creature a symbol and animate the wings or whatever you drew to allow your creature to fly in that symbol's timeline. Draw a fun background environment. Creature must either start or either start off the stage or leave and come back on the stage. Animate the creature's symbol on the main timeline to move in at least 3 different directions. Animate the creature's symbol to do at least 1 loop. The creature's face must orient to the loop's path. Animate the creature's symbol on the main timeline to either land and take off or bounce off the ground for the stage. Add at least 1 ease in and ease out property on any of the required movements above. So that's the list of things. Now, these videos will be really helpful in right here. That will be very helpful to learn how to do it. That's a 42-second video.
42-minute.
42-minute video.
If we learned everything in 42 seconds, I'd be a little concerned.
Yeah. So let me start going through some of these just to kind of give you an idea.
Okay.
Of what, just to get you going. All right. Okay, so what do you see now on the screen?
The Animate CC.
Yeah. By the way, how is your download and upgrade coming along?
It said that it was downloaded or installed.
Okay.
I haven't opened it or anything yet, but it said it was installed.
Would you mind trying that one to make sure you're good?
Sure. So when I open it, it should open and look just like yours?
Yeah. I think you may have just downloaded it, but maybe it went ahead and did the update. If you're open to it, I'd be interested in see what's on your screen.
I cannot start share screening when you're participating in squaring, so you gotta stop sharing with me.
Okay, try it now.
So there, it's still opening.
Oh, good, good, good.
So we'll see what happens after it opens. It's taking a little bit.
Yeah, just describe what you did just so that if anybody else is in the same situation.
Basically what I did was I went into the Creative Crowd little loop here, and it was already installed, and I just hit open. And then this is what pops up. So sync that.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Looks like it's here, and then I would just hit what, HTML5 canvas?
Yeah. In fact, that's good. You could just go ahead and do that instead of me sharing my screen.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay, so you're doing great. So far, so good. Okay, next step, make the stage 500 pixels by 350 pixels.
or the right, there's the property. So just so you know, in fact, let me give you a little, I was going to do this on my screen, but I'll just do it here.
Okay.
So what you have here is the stage. That's what's white.
Okay.
And what the black is considered to be off the stage. The timeline's down there in the bottom. Each of those frames is represents one frame. And so so that's a layer. You can have multiple layers. And then take that red line and up right where you can grab that and move it to the right, and grab the red up right where the number 1 is. Grab that, and right, when our animation is created, then you can then grab it. So it's
okay. So it's not letting me grab it now.
Right. We have to create the animation. So right there, that's frame 1, and then you see it's a little black circle.
Yeah. Right here.
Yeah. What that means is this is a keyframe. But there's nothing on this no object is on the stage right now, so it's in a circle. Yeah, it's a circle. Okay. And so then 24 of these frames per second. So you can see down right above the Safari icon, it says 24.00 FPS. Yeah, that right there, 24 frames per second, means that's the rate that you're going to burn through 24 frames per second. So point to frame 24 on your timeline.
Which would be right there.
That's right. So in 1 second, the scrubber, the red line, will go from frame 0 to 24. It'll go that, just because we've got it set to 24. Now, if we want to slow it down, you could slow it down to 12 frames per second, and then it would take a whole second just to get to frame 12. Or 6 frames per second, it would take a whole second just to get to frame 6. So you have that kind of flexibility. The reason why they use 24 frames per second is because that's the typical speed of a cartoon, or it's a refresh rate. What shows up. It shows up on the TV screen, for example.
Okay.
Refresh rate. Upper right, on the far right, that is
the toolbar.
The toolbar, yep. On the far upper right, where it says Essentials, very top, those are the different layouts that you can choose. So click on that. And they're called workspaces. They're named. Each of them are named. And all this is different layouts of panels. And you'd be looking at your same project, but depending on your, by the way, you're at 6%. I hope you have a plug nearby. I just noticed you're.
Oh, yeah, I noticed that too.
Okay. The workspaces are a function of your job description. In other words, if you're an animator, the different panels that you look at in the project are positioned, and click on that workspace drop down again. So if you're a designer, you have a different set of panels, but again, it's your same project. It's just different views into it, basically different exposure of different functionality that's in Adobe Animate. And you go ahead and you can choose, for example, Animator, and you'll see it'll rearrange the panels. It's the same project, but it just kind of gives you a different set of panels depending on what your job title is. And so if you're an animator, then this would be the set of tools that you really would like to, and panels that you'd like to see that for you to work on. So go ahead and click a different one. Yep. Now, one other additional thing with the workspace is you can actually customize these panels. You can make them bigger, smaller. You can move them around. You can actually save the customized set of panels. So these are just initial settings for each of these. But and then click on the upper right again, and then it says Reset Designer. That would basically, if you made any changes to any of these, then you can reset it back to its original factory setting of panels. So go back up to the upper right and click Essential, I'm pretty sure that this is what we'll probably use. So timeline bottom, stage there in the center on the left, and then the toolbar on the far right, and then we have these panels here. So depending on what you've clicked on in your animation, the properties tab will automatically change. So right now you're clicked on the HTML5 canvas document. Now if we had an object there on the screen, then that would be the thing that it would, and you were clicked on it, that would be the thing that you would be seeing the properties of. So you got the HTML5 canvas document. Upper left, you see where it says untitled -1 and in parentheses canvas. The canvas there means that this is a canvas project file, and the word canvas, I mentioned it briefly on Monday night. The word canvas represents the major element of HTML5 that was introduced in the creation of HTML5, and it's the canvas tag. And so this project file will export or will publish to an HTML5 document and JavaScript. So that HTML5 document will have a canvas tag, or I say tag, it's basically an HTML tag or element. And I put it on the screen on Monday night showing you the example of a canvas tag. But so they call this whole project file a canvas project file just because it is designed to create output which is made of HTML5 and JavaScript files. It's not designed to create the SWF type file, which is a single file, which includes everything in it. But that's Flash Player dependent. You can't create that with this project file. Click File and New. And I want to show you, see where it says ActionScript 3.0. Click there and then click OK. This is the brand new ActionScript 3.0. See how Canvas is not there in parentheses? Now, when you publish this animation, if you create an animation here and you publish it, this would generate a .swf file. But that .swf file is completely dependent upon the Flash Player. It needs a Flash Player to operate. Whereas, go ahead and click on the tab. This is untitled -1. This particular project file, when it's published, it does not create a .swf file. It creates an HTML5 file and a JavaScript file, and it puts all its images in separate folders and so on. So there's lots of different files that this would publish out to. But the nice thing about this is you don't need the Flash Player installed. The output of this can be done in a regular browser. And a browser
you can just drag it and drop it in a browser and you can see what it looks like.
That's right. It's HTML5. So it would have to be a browser that's made up of HTML5. It's basically a more recent browser. So because it would have to handle HTML5. Okay. So now, next thing I want you to do is, currently your HTML5 canvas document is selected. The properties are shown there. So now what I want you to do on the far right panel where it says properties, there's a size. And down there you got FPS, frames per second, and then right there, size W. So that's what, so number 2 says make the stage size 500 pixels by 350 pixels. Good.
By 300?
350. 350. Okay. Check that the frame, number 3, check that the frame rate is 24 frames per second.
It is.
Very good. Number 4, make the animation 10 to 15 seconds long and only play once. Okay, here's how we do that. 10 to 15 seconds long, let's just go at 10 for now. Now, 10, if we're going 24, we're going to burn through 24 frames per second, and we want it 10 seconds long. What will be the frame that we'll get to within 10 seconds?
240.
That's right. Okay, so scroll your timeline over. There's a scroll bar. Let's see. Where can you scroll? That's the scroll bar for the stage. So can you grab the timeline?
You can grab it here. That's just that.
No, let's see. There's a scroll bar down to right above the Safari key. Sorry, there we go. Okay, 240. Okay, now click on the frame 240, right where the 240. Good. Click that, select it. Okay, do a right click.
Oh, hang on.
right click and do an insert keyframe. Okay, so now what we've just done is we've made an animation that is 240 frames long. Right there, what you've just done is created a 240 frame animation just by inserting a keyframe there. Now, right click on that the bar of the frames. Just right click on anywhere along that bar, right there. Yeah. So you can actually go up and select insert, create classic tween, for example. Go ahead and click that. And so see that right there? So what that has done is this has become an animation. Now we don't have any objects at the very beginning. We don't have an object at the end. But now this has become a tween. So make the animation 10, 15 seconds long. We made it 10 seconds long and only play once. Go ahead and lower left, right above the font icon, there's some some left arrow, right arrow, and so on.
Oh, here?
Right down there. You go to the very beginning. This is kind of like a DVD play button. So now click the play button. And now that's taking 10 seconds to run through 240 frames. And it'll stop.
Yep, and you can see down here it said 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Good. Okay, so make the animation. Draw a creature using any or all of the shape tools. Now, over here are the shape tools on the far right. If you want, you can just play around with it. Pretend like you're drawing something. You can do a stick figure. You can just play around with it. By the way, there's a concept of merge.
Yeah, where it automatically merged it.
Yeah, that's merge. Okay, so that's merge model. So
once you place it, it already merges it.
Yeah, there's two different drawing modes. You're in the merge drawing mode. And because those two were the exact same color and the same textures on, they became one.
So if I change a color, then it shouldn't be able to. I could go in and grab it. And it cuts it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's because you're in the merge drawing mode.
How do you get out of that?
There is a toggle. And the toggle, let me see where it is on this essential screen. Change from merge drawing mode, and the other is the object drawing mode. So the toggle is, I usually use a different workspace. So let's see. It's usually, can you change your workspace for a second? Click it to change it to classic. Let's see. The lower left. Click on the click on one of those objects, one of those tools, and we're in merge drawing mode, and
what about this here where it says
no? That's not it. Let's see.
Object drawing mode off?
Click that. Let me see. Yeah, so I think it's not where it normally is. It's usually on the toolbar.
Yep, there you go. Because then I can put that back and move it.
Yeah.
So that was under, when you go and you grab a shape, it's under a shape, and you have to click it on that shape.
How about that? It used to be on the toolbar. I was looking all over for the toolbar, so I apologize for not seeing that.
No, that's okay. It could be, I don't see it either, but okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Okay, so let's see. Draw a creature using any or all the shape tools. Add some type of wings or something that will animate to make it look like the creature is flying. Now, be careful because the wings, do your best at taking advantage of tweening, because the tweening will do the animation for you. So if you can think in your mind of ways of, if you can do this flying thing, flying task, animate it, make a creature flying. If you can do it with tweens, it would be all the better. Just take less time. So think about the movement of the wings, and watch that video. And if you have any questions about how to pull off a moving wing, let me know. You can make the wing grow big, grow small. You can have the wing kind of do a shape tween movement that will make it look like it's flapping, for example. Let's just see. Let me see what else we have to do. We probably need to call it a night here. Let's see. Add some type of wings. Draw a fun background. Import, make your creature a symbol, and animate. So you could.
Now, what's that? Make your creature a symbol. Is that like a logo that's going to move that your creature interacts with?
Just click on the click on one of those things you just drew. Do a right click on it, and it says convert to symbol down at the very bottom. That's what they mean, and you give it a name. And the thing that does, it really kind of transforms what used to be just objects on your screen, with just drawing things. It transforms it into a symbol. The reason, what happens really is we're going to say, okay, now this used to be just a really simple object on the screen, but now it is become a symbol. And being a symbol over the right, you can see it's now more robust. There's more things you can do with a symbol because there's just more information. So you kind of elevate it from being just color and lines, like stroke and fill, because that's all it was. But when you convert it to a symbol, now it can become animated. So that's why they say animate the creature symbol. So the symbol, when you elevate something from just being an object, which is stroke and fill, to something being a symbol, now it can take on a life of its own, and you can animate it. It can't be animated when it's just stroke and fill. It has to be, become a symbol for you then to become, for it to be, take on a life form.
So basically, like once you draw your, what do they call it? Creature?
Yeah.
You make your whole creature a symbol.
Yeah. Yeah, and if there's different moving parts, you might even have a leg be a symbol, a wing be a symbol, right wing be a symbol. So you can create, and you'll see this in video, you can create basically a single symbol made up of lots of little symbols. If each of the little symbols have to do their own little animation, anything that has to move, it gets to be a symbol.
So basically, like you would have, for your creature, you would have like your creature's body, your creature's wings, your creature's legs and arms would be a symbol.
Yeah.
If it
Anything
flows
that has
fire, it would be a symbol.
Right. If the object has to move, have its own motion, independent of anything else, then it gets to be a symbol. And then when you have a lot of symbols, you can combine them and group them. And you'll learn about this. Grouping many symbols, and you can create a single symbol made up of, composed of many other symbols. So you'd have.
So it's like a person's face. You have the symbol of the actual face, and then you have symbols of the eyes and the mouth,
right,
and the nose. But you could group that all together
and
make the face symbol.
That's right. Yep.
Okay.
You can store that, and you can reuse those. Yeah. So that's exactly what they talk about by reusing things. So, all right. So animate the creature symbol and the main timeline to move in at least 3 different directions. Animate the creature symbol to do at least 1 loop. Creature's face must orient to the loop's path. And so a loop, remember how I told you about the motion? You can do a loop-to-loop on the motion. Animate the creature symbol in the meantime to either land and take off or bounce off the ground floor on the stage. add at least one ease in, ease out property and any of the required movements above. Okay, so watch that video. That'll help you with the rest, but we're going to have to call it a night because it is time.
Okay, let me ask you one question. With Animate, you said we can see different layers. So like if I wanted to see, for example, I have a creature and it has 5 different symbols. Is there a way that I can see each individual symbol to see which one I've done?
Yeah, over the left timeline down at the bottom of that section of the timeline, there's a little garbage can.
Yeah.
And to the left of that is a folder, and to the left of that is a new folder, a new
layer.
Click on that. Keep clicking on that several, and so each
okay.
each symbol will be on its own layer there. And
So
then,
like I could make this one here. Now all of these layers, when you make them, they're all this. Can you duplicate a layer? As far as like when you make a new layer, does it keep the properties that it's supposed to be 10 seconds long? And that
no. Right now, only layer 3 there that we created knows that that's it's got anything going on. The layer 3 is
just that one does.
Yeah.
So then when we go back,
so we can do other things. We can animate other things on layer 1, layer 2 there. But right now, the only thing that's got anything going on is layer 3 for 240 frames.
Yeah. So if we had multiple layers to do the different symbols, we would just have to copy, like we'd have to go in and go, all right, I want that to have, to go through to here, which we know. And then we would just click it and say we want to do whatever, the play to that area or whatever.
Yeah. Insert a keyframe. And by instantiating a keyframe there, what that does is it says, oh, you've got something for me to do up to this point. Every time you add a keyframe, extends the life of whatever's going on that layer. So right now, the things that you added, see the black spot in frame 1?
Yeah, here.
That's the circle without the spot. That means that layer has no objects on it. But click on the next layer down. Oh, now it's up there.
Yeah, it's there.
You click on the layer up, that one. Now that one does have
motion.
Have objects. It's got objects. The black spot that's now filled, the filled black spot means I've got an object here. Now, you can turn off using the eye. Click on the eye underneath there. You can turn on and off each layer individually. You can lock a layer so nothing gets changed on it.
Yeah, that takes away both of them then.
Yeah, well, click the X's individually.
Oh. Okay. Now that says there's another object here?
No, that says lock it. Lock it so that you don't accidentally
lock it, okay.
Move anything on that layer.
So when you don't see it, you can't draw on it. So like if I wanted to do this one and I wanted to unview it, but view this one, then whatever I put on here.
Well, you have to select the layer. Yeah.
I don't know what I just did. There we go. So that layer selected, then I can draw that on there. Okay? All right. So like if I wanted layer 1 to be my background, layer 2 could then start being my dragon.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you have to do different layer. Do you have to do different layers for different parts of your creature? Yeah,
every layer that you have moving like simultaneously and existing, that's on a different layer.
Okay, so each movement of your creature has a layer.
Yes, each object, right.
And then each object that moves within your creature has a symbol.
Yes, right.
All right.
It's easier.
Holy crap, I got my work ahead of me this week. All right, I understand.
Okay.
Hopefully everybody else understands too.
Yes, and if you have any questions, I don't know. I'm going to be going away this weekend, so I won't be in the lab, but I do know Chrissy will be there.
Okay. All right. I think that is good.
Sound good?
I think so. If I have any questions, can I shoot you an email? Or?
Yes, you may. Yes.
Okay. And I know you said you're out this weekend. I know I'm working this weekend, but I plan on trying to work on this stuff tomorrow. And if I want to say, hey, can you take a view at this? see what I've done to go over it.
Yeah, I should be able to do that. I'm going out of town, but I think I'll have Wi-Fi connectivity. So
Okay, so like say tomorrow, if I work on this tomorrow morning for the assignment and the assessment, I can shoot it to you and go, hey, does this look okay? Or is there any tips you can give? Can I do that? Or would you rather me go through the tutoring center?
No, I'd love to be involved.
Okay. All right, I think I understand it. Thank you for taking the extra time tonight to explain that better to me.
Yeah, you bet.
All right, we will see you again Monday.
Yes.
Same time, same place?
Yes, Monday night. Actually, that's July 4th.
It is a holiday.
Let's see. I wonder if we should. I would prefer. I don't think they require us to meet on holidays. I would prefer not to.
Okay.
Let's see, Tuesday night. I prefer to meet on Tuesday night.
That's fine. That should work for me. You might want to put an announcement out though.
Yes, I will definitely.
So then we'll meet Tuesday night, Wednesday night.
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right.
All right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.